Are about 3 weeks away from UFC 317 International Fight Week. It's finally almost here. We are less than a month. And can you imagine if this fight was, though, Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev? I know I said I wasn't going to mention anymore because this is the reality. We have to just move on from that, how that fight is not happening. But just imagine that in 3 weeks' time, we would get the Ilia versus Islam fight for UFC 317. Insane. But either way, I am extremely excited. And as we loom closer to this fight card, the hype, the anticipation, the curiosity grows for this fight. I know a lot of people are posting these reels right now about Charles and his aura. Listen, Charles is one of the most beloved fighters in the UFC. This guy speaks. This guy is aura. But at the same time, you have Ilia Topuria, who is on the verge of becoming one of the undisputed faces of this company. He is on the verge of just breaking through into a new level of star power. He's coming off two of the best back-to-back wins in the sport, and he has the aura of invincibility right now. Ilia Topuria just feels like the final boss right now, and he's looking to take on. He's literally coming for it all, to take on all the most legendary fighters and keep on just taking the names off the hit list. Just keep on moving, getting more accolades. Now he's fighting for an undisputed lightweight title versus Charles Oliveira in his return to the lightweight division. And this is just incredibly exciting. So hype. Ilia Topuria, bro. Like, if you guys are Charles Oliveira fans, then I'm sorry you're not. You're probably not going to like this video because I'm on the Topuria side. I am going to be speaking from the perspective of a Topuria fan. And if you want to say I'm glazing, then I'm glazing. I've been rocking with Topuria since the Volk fight. So, yeah, Topuria is just in this insane run right now. 16-0, two of the best back-to-back wins in the sport. He's slowly but surely went through and climbed in his career to get to this point. He's went through the featherweight division. He had that one stopover lightweight bout against Jai Herbert. But he's also beaten Bryce Mitchell, okay, slowly climbing the rankings. Josh Emmett. Then Alexander Volkanovski knocks him out to get the featherweight title. Then defends that featherweight title versus Max Holloway. Basically speed runs the featherweight division, takes on the two best featherweights ever. Defends that title, says, you know what, I'm bored of this title. And I'm going to move up to the lightweight division to take on either Islam or Charles Oliveira and get the lightweight belt under my accolades. So, of course, we know what happened. Belal Muhammad ended up losing to Jack Della Maddalena, and that meant that Islam would move up, and we would no longer get the Islam versus Ilia Topuria mega fight. And then the UFC finally announced, with less than 50 days to go to the card, it would be Charles Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria for a vacant, undisputed lightweight title instead of an interim or anything of that idea. So, yeah, this is just incredible. Like, Ilia Topuria is just an absolute monster. And I'm telling you, regardless of if it was Islam or Charles, with a win on International Fight Week, one of the biggest cards of the year, one of the biggest stages you could headline, Topuria is now, his third straight headliner, versus one of the most legendary fighters in the UFC to come in. If he gets any kind of finish, whether submission or knockout, that's the thing. He's already accumulated so much popularity and star power. He's been at the Real Madrid showing off his featherweight belt. He did this NFL commercial. He's been doing all this sponsorships, the way that Ilia Topuria carries himself with the right level of confidence. And of course, people say that, oh yeah, he's definitely confident, he's definitely cocky, but he knows when to tone it back. He knows when to show fighters their respect. He showed Max Holloway a lot of respect after their fight. He showed Volk respect. Ilia Topuria still presents himself in a certain manner, just a classy guy. He's very educated and smart in his business ventures. He clearly has a lot of business that he does outside of the UFC because he definitely has some insane wealth as well. And he also has his own fighting promotion that he is a promoter of. This guy just gives Conor McGregor vibes, right? As that next guy to be dominant at featherweight, and then come into lightweight, shake things up there, get the lightweight belt. I mean, Ilia Topuria is literally just going legends hunting. Everywhere this guy has gone, he's just left people on the floor. I think he's only went to the decision twice in his career. He's been finishing everyone in his path. You want a submission, he gives you a submission. You want a knockout, he gives you a knockout. Let me just add that one of the things that makes Ilia Topuria's confidence and cockiness work is that he actually backs up what he says. In the lead up to the Volk fight, right, he grabbed at the belt, Conor McGregor type vibes, calling like all this confidence with Volk, and Volk's dressed up as an old man, doing that kind of shtick. And then when he came in there, to do what he did to Volk, sure you could say that Volk was off short notice. He knocked out Volk. And then he posts on his Instagram once the Max Holloway fight is made beforehand, speaks it into existence, and still 16-0, the first man to knock out Max Holloway. And what does he go out and do? He goes out and knocks out Max Holloway and stands on his word and points to the beginning of the mat at the beginning of the fight, points down to the ground to back up what he said, that he'll slug it out with Max Holloway. So Ilia Topuria, what makes it work is that he actually backs up what he's been saying. It's not just like there's like some emptiness to the kind of things that he's saying. He literally backs up what he says and actually brings it into fruition, which just adds to the aura, adds to his swag and his level of a fighter. And what makes him so scary to a lot of different fighters, from the fact that he actually shown what he says he's going to do and knocking people out in the violent fashion that he has. In his last fight, to do what he did to Max Holloway, to knock out one of the best chins in the sport. Max Holloway was never knocked down in his entire professional fighting career until that point when Ilia Topuria came in there and originally just like he said, he did not back on his word. He said the entire lead up to the fight, step to the middle with me, Max, and let's slug it out just like you did to Justin Gaethje. But instead of the final 10 seconds, let's do it in the first 10 seconds. Max Holloway didn't oblige, which honestly was kind of smart for him. But, if you want to try to play the long game and win back that featherweight title, but for Topuria to do that and then calculated, no wasted movements, picking his shots, just staying and just his technique, that you see the level of technique in Ilia Topuria, the way that he fights. And he then went and knocked out Max Holloway after phasing him a little bit with some crazy combinations. And then boom, comes that hook from the side into Max Holloway. For Max Holloway's on the floor and Topuria's celebrating with some tea. That was the Abu Dhabi card. So yeah, Topuria, again, the level that he's on right now and what he could achieve. And I am so confident that after that Saturday night, Ilia Topuria will have the lightweight belt wrapped around his waist. He would have finished Charles Oliveira to continue to be undefeated and have probably the best back-to-back, two-back wins in the sport to go Max Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Charles Oliveira. I am so confident that he is going to finish Charles Oliveira. Yeah, and Topuria, what will be next for him after that? Well, I know he wants to chase Islam Makhachev, which would be absolutely ridiculous at that point if he goes after Makhachev at 170. I think that the UFC will definitely tell him, slow your roll, and you got to defend at least 2 times versus Arman Tsarukyan and Paddy Pimblett. The Paddy Pimblett fight could be massive. So that could be Topuria's way of Topuria, and he's continuing to climb and achieve so many accomplishments in such a short amount of time in this sport. Just going legends hunting and rapidly climbing into one of the best fighters of all time conversation. To be able to do this in this kind of fashion, most guys really need to work for it and slowly get to these different levels. But Topuria, the way that he's doing it is just incredible. And I think Charles Oliveira is just another just achievement that's gonna be made for Ilia Topuria. to then say that he's a 2 division champion. And yeah, Charles Oliveira, we all know that this guy is aura. And he's definitely one of the most dangerous and most successful finishers that we've ever seen in the UFC. Some of the most dangerous submissions. But where is Charles Oliveira in his career, right? We've seen the best of him as a champion, beating the likes of Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler the first fight. Then he got, what was it, an Arizona commission. Feels he got robbed of his title for missing weight. And he lost, of course, to Islam Makhachev when Islam Makhachev submitted him. But in his last 4, who did he lose to? When you think about who he's beaten Beneil Dariush and Michael Chandler for the second time. And in between those fights, he lost to Arman Tsarukyan. And he almost finished Arman Tsarukyan, but in the end, Arman Tsarukyan won. So when it comes to UFC math, technically, Arman Tsarukyan should have gotten the title shot. But of course, the UFC has to make a point with him in an example. And instead, they gave Charles the shot, which I'm still completely amazing choice. Probably one of the best options you could have gone with after Islam Makhachev. And honestly, why isn't Arman Tsarukyan gotten a fight booked yet? Seriously, this guy's been out since January. He had to bounce back from his little back issue, but he should already be booked for another fight. This guy is in his prime right now. He's the number 1 contender. Get him fighting again. So, yeah, Charles Oliveira to lose to Arman Tsarukyan, but then bounce back versus Michael Chandler. And by the way, Michael Chandler almost finished Charles Oliveira in the 5th round. Again, he almost finished him. If Michael Chandler was a little more strategic and then to be thrown in, but I guess it's the best choice you could go with after Arman Tsarukyan, since Arman Tsarukyan wasn't deserving. On paper, too, Charles Oliveira is the bigger name. He is the bigger draw to go against Ilia Topuria for a vacant lightweight belt on UFC 317. So Charles Oliveira, we know he's one of the most dangerous finishers in the UFC, and that's really where he's going to have to lean on in order to give Ilia Topuria maybe his toughest test yet. But I don't think it's going to be enough. Ilia Topuria is just so well-rounded everywhere. And yeah, I feel like Ilia Topuria is just going to clean Charles Oliveira up on the feet. And it's going to be a sensational moment for the sport. And we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, again, so hyped for this. Waited so long for a big fight like this, and we're finally going to be at a Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria fight week. Life's good right now. Life is good. So, yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.